Welcome to episode 47 of Pineapples and Thorns. I'm Kat, and with me today are Fado and Peter.
Hello.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, you guys. Everyone's recovering well.
Nothing to recover from. A hearty meal.
A good night's sleep.
Yep, we ended up at my wife's father's place. He's kind of house ridden. He has a COPD, so just an evening of playing cards, and we had fish and chips for dinner. So it was nice. He was in fine form.
That sounds nice.
Very nice. Yeah, we did the tenderloin. Turned out well. Woo!
Oh, that's right. You posted some pictures that it really looked good.
Yeah.
I did nothing exciting. Sat on voice for a while. Did a bit of clashing.
So it's just like any other day.
Pretty much took my 13 to 14.
Oh, I was going to take my 13 to 14 with you. So I guess I'll do that after this episode.
Hit that button. I haven't done much on it. I hammered the lab and that's about it.
Oh, you literally took it to 14. I need to do it slow. That's my free-to-play account.
Sorry, I just had all this stuff saved up. So
gotcha.
Medals and what have you. So I figured might as well use them. So on today's show, we want to delve into what makes a good clan leader, whether it's a leader or co-leader. Leadership sets the tone for the entire clan, and bad leadership can ruin the best of clans. So we're hoping to make this an ongoing series. And today's show might be a little bit Redthorn specific, but it really pertains to Clash of Clans in general.
So I'm going to start with you, Fado. How did you end up in the Redthorn leadership group?
I think at first I thought I was being pranked. But at the time I was present, and Kat knew me pretty well. I had been a leader at the Rated when we were there together, and I don't know. It's nice to feel like good people trust you. I think you were involved too. Because one of the first things I usually do when I become a leader is I get access to that new leader chat, and then I just start scrolling up like crazy in Discord trying to see what everyone's been like dumping on me about, or otherwise. But no, I think it was Peter that said, "How about that guy?" And Kat was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And I appreciate being trusted, especially like sometimes like people like us in certain clans would stand out, like somewhat organized, and know when to step in and lay the hammer down. Thankfully, that's never a problem in Redthorn, but you see people lead whether they have the moniker or not. So
Agreed.
That's how I think I got there.
And how about you, Kat? I mean, we know kind of the history of how you came to be in Redthorn, but you've been in leadership in other clans for a long time. So maybe go back to like your earliest memory of getting into leadership.
It seems like no matter what I do, I get stuck into a leadership role of some sort. But when I first started playing Clash, I was in just a generic clan. My son had been in this clan, so I joined, and then of course he quit, and I stayed, and they just, because I kind of was there doing things, they stuck me in a co-leader role. And then when I moved over to Hollow Graves, same sort of thing, just kind of naturally started telling people what to do because that's kind of what I do, and just got stuck into a co-leader role there. So I think it's just a matter of if you sort of step in game and are seen to be doing things, leadership kind of notices and
with you, Kat, though, sorry to interrupt, but with you, it's like when you're talking, you are obviously responsible, and you've always kind of been the leader of lately, but even back then, if there was something going on that wasn't right, whether it's people beefing over attacks, and if you're not a leader, people can either join in the argument or put their, do it with an iron boot, or someone can come in and maturely handle it and try and get all the sides, or just recognize it's chaos and shut it down. So you have always had that very clear-headed, level-headed kind of mode of leadership.
Yeah, maybe that stems from being a parent. I don't know. Just, use your mom voice and hopefully people listen. But, if there's a conflict in game about something, you kind of just, okay, let's talk about this in a mature manner and try and figure out how to solve it. how to come to a peaceful resolution, right? What about yourself, Peter?
My story's similar. It's just you're there, you remember what happened the last time this particular thing happened, and so you just remind and participate, right? If someone's looking for donations or donations are there, you donate first, and just the little things that kind of keep everything flowing easily in the clan.
Mhm.
Which brings me to my next point. What makes a good clan? Could you answer that first, Fado, maybe as a member, and then what makes a good clan when you're a leader?
As a member, you are participate. I mean, it's hard because it's not like your mentality suddenly changes. At least this is my experience. It's not like your mentality suddenly changes once the smaller font is a different word under your game name, right? So usually it's, are you donating? Are you active? Are you helping? Because think about what the game was like 4 or 5 years ago. Um, it's like, oh, Discord wasn't as rampant maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And you always had to say, oh, just look for this video tutorial, because there were much more back in the day. There were a lot more like video tutorials of certain attack styles. Oh, that looked really neat. How did you do that? Well, I've
Mm-hmm.
been watching person X, person Y, whatever. I mean, now it's more recap, but still. So, as a member, you just do you kind of show what you as a person are all about. It's like, giving? Are you giving advice? Are you giving troops? Are you patient? Are you it and really it kind of melds easily with, when someone becomes a leader, because those are all that's what I would expect of a leader too, leading by action almost. And you can tell, I'm sure this may not be occurring to Kat as she's sitting here listening to this, but there's so many other things in leadership that I usually haven't been involved in. There's all sorts of, hey, we gotta we gotta have a Discord server. We gotta
Yes.
figure out our events and wrangle people to get in the right places and things like that. That whether by luck or accident, I'm usually not involved in. But then again, like people like us, we overlook that stuff because it's kind of unconscionable to commit to something and not do it. Whether it's leadership in general or signing up for a certain clan and not showing up for CWL or things like that.
Yeah. How about you, Kat?
From a member standpoint, I think I would be looking for a clan, like as Fado says, that's active. There's nothing worse than going into a clan and seeing the last conversation was 3 days ago, and somebody's donation is sitting there, unfilled, and people might have been on and have their own requests pending. Activity, donations, just a sense of fun. People being in war. From a leadership standpoint, I'm looking for people who are good clanmates, right? I try when I go on in game, if there's any donation requests, the first thing I do is fill those and look for anything, like read the chat, see what's been going on. Basically, just people wanting to be good clanmates, playing as a team, helping each other out.
I got to take that one step further. I love it when people share their personal things. Redbeard was talking today about his boys getting set up to race their remote control cars, right? I love that little insight into him, right? I can just see him sitting on the porch with his boys outside and he's clashing and his kids are playing, he's there, but he's with us sharing. I love that part of it. I mean, that's Red Thorn for me, is that, because people do share. There's a couple of people I don't even see them on. I know they're playing because, they're advancing and stuff, but we never get to hear from them. They're really quiet.
Right. Because they might not be playing or be active in Discord, but they're active in game, and they might be having a conversation in game. And that it develops that sense of community, like you sort of quote unquote get to know your clanmates by what's going on in game. Oh, that's a great attack that you did. Can you share a replay? Let's FC. Can you show me how you do that? And so there's a lot of that going on in game.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully we get to touch on Vodka Soda's, I thought kind of impromptu lesson on the Hydra attack or the balloon or the
Hmm.
Super Archer blimp Hydra attack. Yeah, that was really great. I couldn't participate. I can only listen in, but it was good to hear. I picked up some points.
Yeah, and that kind of pertains to one of your upcoming points about Discord. So I'll save my comments for that part.
Okay, so let's now just continue on with the Red Thorn theme. As leaders, how do we measure the success of Red Thorn? Is it by... Well, I'll let you answer. How do you measure the success of Red Thorn, Cat?
How do I measure it? That's a good question. Well, there's sort of tangible ways to measure it, like the clan is full, right?
Yeah.
We're winning wars, that sort of thing. But overall, for me, I look, are people having fun? Is it a good drama-free environment where people are just there? They're there to play the game. They're there to have fun with each other. Some of us might be hanging out in Discord on voice at night, or people might just be in-game FCing, trying out new strategies. Overall, just a sense of team and community and fun. I want people to have fun.
Pedro, do you think it's important for us to win wars for people to be having fun?
The morale. I would say if there was a way to measure chat messages or something like that, it's higher when things are going well. Um, uh, it's not. You can. It's interesting. I think as you are with the same people for a long time, you can feel how they're feeling, right? You can gauge like, oh man, that person's frustrated just by the reactions or the
Mhm.
lack
Yes.
of, like, they'll go do a war hit and if something goes wrong and suddenly it's just they come back and they don't even type anything in chat or something.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's a requirement to come back and say, wow, that blew. But you know, you can kind of feel it. So you can just feel it like in the clan chat, and you can feel if something's missing or morale is down. And with as many leader types as we have, and I'm not saying the sheer number of leaders, but the types of people that are that are in the clan in general. Whether leaders or not, you can gauge, and everyone is pretty mature. So if there is something up or something, they don't think is going swimmingly, we'll hear about it. And usually in the best way possible through like constructive criticism. So, um, yeah, I would say like if you're not chasing people down to do war hits and chat's somewhat active and there's not a lot of like unnecessarily lengthy ranting about either someone else's attack especially
Yes.
or your own,
Mhm.
then things are going well.
I would just like to add, we went through the hard time, right? When we were adjusting to Town Hall 15, I think there was a
Oh
great deal
yeah.
of frustration, right? Triple rates dropped. People didn't really know what was working. It felt a little like um, what you said there, Fado, about the morale felt down. But
Mhm.
I think we never really lost anybody through that section, right? Everyone was kind of seeing what everybody else was doing to be successful, so we could copy.
Yeah. I think we lost one or two people, and hopefully they do end up coming back. But we managed to retain the most of the clan, and just encouraging, just like providing encouragement, saying it's going to get better. Remember 14, everybody was frustrated when we all started Town Hall 14 as well. And as you level up those pets and
Yes.
and heroes, things are
Yeah,
going to get somewhat better. I'm not going to say easier because that's not happening, but
yeah. I
we
mean,
are finding our way.
yeah, companies measure a lot of how they're doing on employee retention, and how it's not much different in a clan, right?
Mm,
And if you look around, like we don't have a lot of turnover, which is kind of a good problem to have.
right.
And we're going to cover that in a little bit because
Mhm.
I think that's one of the things that makes Red Thorn really, really great. Okay, just back up here a little bit. Kat, how many clans are you actively involved in leadership?
Define active.
Well, let's say you're spinning wars or chasing people to make their attacks or just kind of generally organizing. Like I
Oh boy.
know I know some of the answers here already because I see you in Discord, but
How many accounts do I have?
Okay. Yeah.
I appear to one of my resolutions that I think I talked about on a previous show is that I was cutting back and finding balance in my clash life.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of spiraled out of control again. So let's see. PR, Red Thorn, the Rated, the Town Hall 2 clan, and I'm kind of helping out over at C2J Academy. So that's 5.
5. Wow. How about you,
Yeah.
Fado? Do you feel like you're active anywhere other than Redthorn?
Not really. I think I am in leadership in the Rated, but I kind of barely farming and not really warring on that account. So shame on me. But I think I just kind of have it because I'm a leader in Redthorn and I can step in if needed. Um, no one really, I don't volunteer for much, but that's not because I don't want to. It's just because maybe I miss messages or something.
Okay.
But you know, um, but Rated is, it's meant to be like Redthorn Junior with pretty easy, easy going and not even very serious warring, unlike its previous incarnation. But um, we're finding more and more lately that we've got to be a little more hands-on.
Yes, because it's not everyone's mini, right? There are people with their
Hmm.
principal accounts there that are
Hmm.
feeling the competitive drive to play, right? So
Yeah, and that's on me. Like I've got to realize that it's not Red Thorn, even though there's a lot of Red Thorn presence there. It's not, the same. Uh, it's not an immaturity thing, but there's certainly a lot of differences between the two.
Yeah. And I mean, the major difference obviously is that Red Thorn is pretty much all 15s. So, we're all pretty much on a level playing field, whereas the Rated is quite a mixed breakdown all the way down to like down
Hmm.
6, all the way up to 15. So it can be quite a mess when we spin a war with that kind of a breakdown.
Yeah, and Peter, you can tell me if I'm a leader in that TH2 clan. I might be, but
I think I made everybody a co-leader. Yeah. I mean,
free
because it was
co.
all
So everyone,
free
free
co. Yeah.
co.
I haven't organized anything there, so I'm falling down. Cat, did you spin this for SCWL already?
No, I did not. I wasn't going to for the Town Hall 2 clan this month.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
just,
think we're gaining on ourselves a little quick there. I can't believe
yeah.
we promoted again. That was crazy. Do you think you could ever live the member life again?
So yes, easily, and here's why. Precisely because something I said a little bit earlier is that I'm not really tasked with too much in Red Thorn. And if someone demoted me, or if we agreed to a demotion, no one's going to out and out like demote one of us, right?
Right.
But that's a sign of maturity itself, right there. But it's not going to change the way I am in the game. I'm still going to be making dad jokes in the chat. I'm still going to be donating. All the stuff you've grown to hate from me will still be happening.
See, I don't think that's what we hate, Fatal. I mean, that gets people laughing or, even just making the emoji back to you engages someone, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
It's all we're ever trying to do is keep everyone engaged.
even if it's like the roll eye emoji by 10 different
Absolutely.
people.
That's the one I strive to get.
Oh, some people even go on their minis to give an extra roll eyes to me. It's great.
See? That's like bonus points. That's like 4 stars, man.
I count that as a win.
Yes. How about you, Kat? Could you ever see yourself just stepping back completely, continuing to play Clash, but not chasing, spinning, being first to
Um,
donate?
Honestly, probably not, because just my personality is if I see somebody that needs to be doing something, I'll probably say something. To not say something would be difficult for me. And I'll always donate, whether, I mean, when I have my 9 as leader in the Rated and I don't have my other accounts there, it kind of kills me that I can't fill donations.
I hear you. Yes.
All I can
Yes.
donate is a max rage spell, maybe some gobs.
And some goblins. That's right.
Yeah. And so it really just kind of drives me up a wall. But yeah, I would try. to live the member life, but I think, yeah, I would just end up being that member who tries to boss people around, and it gets annoying. So
Do you find though then, because you are that personality, other people step back, that you're left holding the bag, as it were? Not to throw anyone under the bus.
well, I'm just the type of person that if I see something that needs to be done, I'm just going to do it, right? If it's something that I can take care of right away, I'll just do it. And that's a bad thing for me sometimes, because I should step back and let other people handle things instead of just doing it all the time. And that's probably something that I need to take a breath and just let other people in my clans do their jobs.
Right. I mean, and that can be the litmus test for any person who's even just titularly holding that co-leader title. Can you delegate to them, and does it get done?
Mm-hmm.
I think as parents, we have that, right? With our kids, it's easier sometimes just for us to do it ourselves. I think we've all been through that,
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, what are they learning if you're doing it for them? Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, that's true.
How important is Discord to running your clans? I'm going to let you start, Kat.
For me, it's critical. I know I drive people crazy when I say this, but it's just such a vital communication tool, because Supercell hasn't given us that in-game. So due to the constraints that are put upon us and some of the glitches that are happening now as well, you type out a sentence, it could be start out and edit.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for no apparent reason. Just the combination of letters that their algorithm doesn't like. So in Discord, I can type out somewhat wordy paragraph and post it, but it has important information in it. And I try and keep it concise. And I try not to tag people too often. But it's really the only way that I can, say to people, look, here's an event that's happening. This is where you need to be. These are the rules, whatever. And get that information to everybody in the clan at the same time.
Can you imagine trying to run your clan without Discord? Oh my goodness. I think of all the posters you've made since I've known you. How would you get that point across? That's an awful lot of clan mails.
Yeah, I just think, and if you think back in the day, leaders could only send a clan mail, once every 12 hours or something?
Yeah.
So, and you have such a short amount that you can put in that clan mail, and you can't go back and edit it. You have to retype the whole thing if you make a spelling mistake at the beginning. So yeah, that's another problem I have with Supercell. They really need to make the communication tools better in game.
Do you think they have any motivation to? Because people are using Discord?
Probably not. I mean, it's probably effective enough for the majority of clans, but for clans like us, Discord is definitely it's got to be mandatory.
Yeah, and a clan family like the CFF.
Yeah,
absolutely. So carrying on with Discord, how much does it frustrate you when someone says, "Oh, I have those channels muted"? Just the announcements, just the leadership channel, I have it muted.
Honestly, it makes me absolutely crazy and frustrates me, because not just myself, but other members of leadership and other leaders in the CFF, we put a lot of work into the various events and running the family, and whether it's just information for the clan about an event or war or something, just important information that we want people to know. When someone comes back to me and says that, well, I've got all the server muted or most of the channels muted, as long as they have like the announcements and the war channels and the pertinent clan channels not muted, I'm fine. But if they want to go ahead and mute like all the fun channels, that's cool.
But yeah, it's not like you're tagging us every day, right? At here. We don't get that. We don't get that in Red Thorn. We get maybe that once a month.
I try not to. I do have a reputation for tagging a lot, but when I tag people, it's because I have important information to impart to them. It's not like I'm going, I've seen in some servers somebody tagging, add everyone. I passed
Yeah.
my exam today.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, no, don't do that. It's like at Redthorn or at here. At here just tags the people who are online in the server at that time. At Redthorn tags everybody with that role. So, if you're a member of the clan, you'll have that role. And if I'm using that tag, then there is something important that I want you to know. So yeah, if I find somebody has the server muted, then I will reach out to them directly and ask them to unmute it.
Very good. What do you think we'd be using if we weren't using Discord?
Me? I don't know.
Yeah, I've been in places that use GroupMe before Discord was much
GroupMe,
of a
okay,
thing.
yeah.
What else was there? There was Line,
Yeah,
right?
Line.
I don't even know what else is out there right now. Discord is just
Taken
the
over,
most
hasn't
versatile. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so versatile. Plus, it has Nitro, so
it?
I could use animated emotes everywhere.
Yeah,
Great.
we had struggled finding a way for us to be monetized in other platforms. So
I think we wanted to jump into some clan recruiting questions. Fado, do you want to handle that?
yeah, yes, I do. So I mentioned earlier about like retention, and even in the corporate world, that's how a lot of companies are checking on how they're doing as a company, what's their turnover rate, things like that. So, we've had some accounts that have found us through one way or another, friends of friends, even, seeing a tweet or seeing Reddit. Um, but lately, we did have a couple of new that came and left pretty quickly, including, I think one kind of put us in a lurch for CWL.
Yes.
How Peter, how have you were you involved in any of that? How like i- what can we even do in that point in your mind?
That was an unfortunate one, right? Because we lost two people. It just makes a scramble at the end. And I think as leaders, we need to know that this is a game that we're all playing together and real stuff happens. But sometimes people are just, I think, what's the right word? Ignorant maybe of how much goes into organizing it for everybody else. So one
Mhm.
person not showing up for a spin when you're counting on them wrecks it for the other 49 and a 50 person more, for example.
Mm-hmm.
SCWL, it was, a scramble to get that 21st member so the other 20 people could have a good week. So I don't know what we can really do to prepare other than already what we're doing. We're vetting people, we're making sure they're engaged. I don't know how we could have really guessed. I don't even remember the account's name. I had it
Mm-hmm.
tattooed in blood there for a couple days. It's kind of seeing red. But I think they just went back to their clan. Maybe they were nervous about what was happening. Maybe they weren't prepared to leave Redthorn.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kat has a loyal following. People find her and they don't want to let her go. So I think that's easy for us to keep recruits. How do
Mhm.
you see it, Kat? What do you think keeps people around?
Well, I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is what makes a good clan. When they come in and they see that people are active in game and they're donating. I mean, we have the podcast here. So when someone's applying, we tell them to apply via the CFF server. We don't get many serious applications simply because the clan is always full. And we're only taking 15s at the moment. So for these last two people that came through, they applied through the CFF server. We set up an interview, and I talked to them and asked them what they're wanting out of a clan, and I explained our expectations. So we have a good conversation before they even join the Redthorn server and the clan. Because I don't want people joining and then just like disappearing in the middle of a war or something. I want to know that
Right.
they're going to commit to at least trying out the clan for a few weeks and see if it fits. Because, to be honest, sometimes you come into a clan and it just isn't a good fit for you for one reason or the other. But we have Discord, so there's always that communication tool is just reach out and say, hey, I'm just not feeling it. I'm going to move on. No hard feelings. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? But both of these people just kind of vanished and
Yeah.
without a word and not saying anything. So
Hmm.
that
Which was
always
really
kind
the
of bothers
worst
me.
part, wasn't it? Was just
Yeah,
no word. You know what? I'm not comfortable. I'm leaving. Then
yeah,
we could just, forgive and forget kind of thing because it
yeah,
is a game. But it was just the way it was done. Ugh.
yeah. And it is what it is.
It
That's
is
going to
what it
happen
is.
in any clan.
Yeah, and Kat, like, what do you like? Where are these people coming from? When we haven't had to have like a recruiting drive anytime in the recent times, but like, what are your usual avenues for finding new members?
Um, lately I've had I think both of these last two had said that they heard the podcast and they were intrigued about Redthorn, so that's why they joined. But sometimes it's people who know people in the clan, or there might be an old member returning who's been out of the game for a few years, or just like somebody who found Redthorn because it was on the list of the top whatever number of pushing clans, because
Yeah,
we
we're
have
kind
so
of heavy,
many.
aren't we?
We are heavy and we just naturally end up there.
Hmm.
So depending on who it is, generally I have a conversation with them and explain, like I said, explain what our expectations are, and make sure that they're going to be active and not just come in and park and farm and not do any wars, because we are a war clan.
I wonder what influence our SCWL league has. If people are looking for a little more competitive wars, if they'll drift towards us because we are now Champs 2 clan. I also wonder about the clan capital. I mean, those raid medals are really, really valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And so does that, I know we get a lot of Town Hall 9s applying and just saying, oh yeah, I talked to somebody on Discord or whatever the BS story is they use, or, they just say friend of outlaw or whatever the trick of the day is. And I wonder if they're looking that way too. I mean, we are full almost all the time. We are doing relatively well in SCWL. The clan capital is just happening because it's happening. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. It's interesting. I don't know what draws people to us. I hope it's the podcast, but
Ah, so, I mean, we talk about getting people in, but what do you think we do that would make them stay?
I think it's because it's easy to be a member in Redthorn, right? You're not waiting for donations. Whether it's leadership donating or it's just members donating, I think everybody's, when they're in, they're active, right? And they recognize what it takes to, treat others as you would like to be treated.
Hmm.
Um, I think there is a kind of a push to be better, right? We're not ultra competitive, but everybody wants the 3-star, right? Everyone's
Mm-hmm.
delighted when they 3-star. So you're happy for that guy, and at the same time, you're like, "Oh, I would really like one this war." Those little things. I forget who it was. I think it was Royd. I sent a Super Archer blimp into this area, and I didn't quite get it done. And he says, "Oh, thanks for that, Scout. I used that exact same blimp." And he then used VS's Hydra to wipe that base out. So he gave me the assist on his 3-star. That's a great feeling, as
Yeah.
just a co-member saying, "Hey, that really worked. Good job." And so that's I think what keeps people here.
Yeah.
It's fun. We're learning off each other.
Well, and there is that support, right? That sense of community, teamwork, support. You know, if you succeed and you triple, like there's always like, good game, throw up the skulls, whatever.
Right.
Um, and if you're struggling, you know that somebody will either offer some advice, or you can turn to somebody and they'll, maybe do some FCs, or, even get on voice with you and talk about what's, where you're getting stuck. People are always available. And we talked a game before about vodka soda, putting together that impromptu training session to show people, because we had quite a few people that were interested, because, for one reason or another, they're struggling, and everybody got on voice, and we did FCs in game, and people have been using it to do their legend hits and finding a measure of success with it. So,
Yeah, and I mean that we're kind of touching on a couple of future agenda points, but it really is true when we talk about, we're all in the same sort or the same clans, obviously, but we all have the same general impression, and um, we don't struggle for donations at all.
Hmm.
We just don't. People are either on it for oh heck, some people are just chasing like some sort of record on the friend in need challenge or something like that. But when it comes to wars, we're generally spinning around the same time. And how how did Red Thorn land on that 5, 6 o'clock Eastern window of spinning for randoms?
I think it was just when we started, uh, most of our player base was North American and quite a few were Eastern time zone based. So we just decided to spin around 6 p.m. Eastern all the time. And that's just kind of stuck around. We've tried different times, depending on, you know, if people are finding, that 6 o'clock spin too early, one month, maybe we'll push it back or, sometimes to accommodate our European members, we'll try spinning a little bit earlier. We try different things sometimes and see what works.
And why won't you let us spin a 35-person war?
I just don't like 35. That's a supercell thing. So many times, because people are currently farming, they're 15, so heroes might be down. So we might be at 35 or 36 people who are green. So then either we're scrounging for those extra 4 people, just come on, guys, let's go green for that to get 40, or we just say, okay, we'll just sit some alts and spin a 30. But
Hmm. And
That feels
and
like one of the times you use the at Redthorn to just
yeah,
try to get some more members, right?
yeah,
Because
or I'll do an ad here, or I'll tag specific people who are red.
I think you really hate going smaller rather than going bigger, right? If you had your choice, you would always move up.
Yeah, and I mean, always like, if I have to sit people, I'll sit myself first.
yeah, and then Peter, have, do you have any do you have any issue with when we're spinning, or are you kind of a guy that's like, I don't care if we match at 3 in the morning, it still gives me 23 hours, I'll be fine.
I still on the 15. No, there's no issue ever, right? Because 15v15, it's like SCWL. You kind of get it in when you can. I find bigger struggles when it's my lower accounts. I've been really struggling lately with my hits in the rated. Oh, excuse me. The rated. I have Town Hall 9s and Town Hall 10s. I find it trouble to get in those first couple of hours. My clanmates are very quick off the mark. Cat. And it's hard to get those hits in quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think that was probably a bigger issue when it was a much more mixed breakdown
Yes.
or free
Hmm.
Discord or things like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so lately we've had a lot of events. Um, so Kat, I was wondering if you wanted to take us away talking about some of the. It's actually been pretty cool this holiday season.
Yeah, like Supercell really has locked us into a never-ending cycle of events. There's, raid weekends and clan games and SECWL, can't even say it. Some of which, of course, leadership needs to be involved in, some we don't. There's also all the various CFF events that have been going on, although we've kind of taken a bit of a break from those over the December month breaks. And, we also participate in our friend clans events. So do you think there's real danger of not only just player burnout, but leadership burnout, because having to always sort of lead by example and be involved in these events, is
Yeah,
it too much of a good thing?
my feeling on that is when it's in game and it's in like the little gift package at the bottom of the screen, then we're not really going to have any problem because there's no leadership commitment to make sure people are doing that. They're just possibly missing out on decorating their little house in the capital or whatever. So, and I found that to be really neat and helpful. Like we have the 4 times bonus right now, things like that. But it comes more into the CWL is a different animal when you've got a clan in champs and a healthy clan. Not everyone gets a chance to war, so you've really got to organize around multiple clans at that point, and that's when the headaches set in. And so that's when a lot of the work needs to be done. Um, and I would say with CFF, there are a lot of like-minded people.
Hmm.
It's an
Hmm.
18 and over family. So generally speaking, rarely, it's pretty rare when you need more than 2 or 3 subs. People either accidentally get a spin time for one of the member clans will usually screw up a couple people who signed up and would have been there and etc. It just things happen in game, and then things happen in life. So that's the flip side of being 18 and over is that we all respect other people's time. We all respect that
Hmm.
things happen. Um, and the flip side being is that we all are in a situation where we understand that, right? We're not going to
Mm.
flip out. We're not going to just randomly start kicking people out of clans or disciplining people for that either.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So, like clan games, we know that there's not a lot that we need to do for that. People go in, do their various tasks, and we never normally have issues completing them. So
Especially
that,
in Redthorn, right? I think we were over
yeah,
150,000 clan game points this month. It was crazy. People were
yeah.
really into it.
And for like normally, I look at clan games and I just dread it because there's really in the last few months there hasn't been a lot in there that people need. It's been less than exciting to do them. Although
Mm.
the December one was good, but they bumped it up to, I think you
Oh
needed
yeah, extra days.
50,000, yeah,
Yeah.
or 5,000 per person. So, but again, we just kind of blew through that. And Clan Capital,
Oh, could I just interject?
yes, sir.
Do you feel as leaders we need to getting max points? Like I remember, I can't remember who it was. Maybe Agent Paladin said, "You know what? I got my 50 points this month or whatever." It was in jest. Do you feel it's important that the leaders, let's say Red Thorn and then other clans, get their maximum points? What do
Um,
you think, Fatal?
It's kind of important because if too many people said, "Oh, I'm just going to do the minimum," suddenly you're like, "Well, actually, we're not going to get to those higher level reward tiers." So
yeah.
and I really appreciated like AP posting that because it was funny, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He was just trying to be funny. He wasn't trying to be a jerk. So, but the interesting thing is like, yeah, Clan Games was forgotten for months in a way because it didn't matter. We had so many Max 14s that like
Mm,
we were only
yeah.
getting gems out of it really.
Hmm.
Because we were full up on potions and this and that in our in our stock. So but you're right, it's kind of like, oh shoot, I actually do have to play in games and take it seriously, and some bum has already taken all the builder base ones. So here I go, I got to do my Lalo with jump spells and just make sure I get that that challenge done.
Where did you tag? I remember you having to tag this clan games that we weren't kind of getting there. Was it the rated? Yeah, I think you had to
So
tag in one of the servers to say, "Hey, clan games are on. We're not really halfway there yet, and we're almost halfway
I
done."
tagged somebody. Oh my goodness. I'm shocked. It was probably the rated, I would think, because we do have a fair number of relatively inactive accounts there, and people were doing clan games, but we didn't have as many people maxing them at the time. Obviously, as with Red Thorn, like Red Thorn, just everybody is type A personality and they just blaze through them and take all the builder base. So Fatal can't do them. It's like, again, it's a different mentality. Like everybody's farming their 15, so they want those max points to get that extra reward. And it was a good reward this time. So, it just, yeah. And let's talk a little bit about Clan Capital. Right now, Fridays, some co-leader who gets up first has to start the raid weekends. Why don't they just start these things automatically?
Man,
Fatal?
that's a good question. Uh, I don't know. I kind of wish they did, because if you've got a situation like ours where 90 something percent of the leaders are based in North America, but we do have some that are not in our time zone. I think we've got some in Australia, some in Europe. So it's like, well, what are they supposed to do? Sit around and, oh, maybe they could start throwing at everyone tags into Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that would help. If I don't think anyone cares that much about Clan Capital, um, but uh, it would be nice if they did. Peter.
I was worried when Clan Capitals first announced that it was going to be a big burden on co-leaders. I think it's kind of slid to the side, other than having to start it. I guess maybe it's for base setting, right? That can be the only reason. You get those last few upgrades and then you can set the base the way you need it. That's my only guess.
Yeah, because right now only co-leaders and the leader can quote unquote build bases on the clan capital. And really, Supercell, we need the ability to copy from a base link on clan capital. I did sit down one day and I had built my one and only base. I built loosely say because I copied it from a picture off of YouTube, and it took forever because there's just so much stuff.
It is big, isn't it? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, it's a lot of space.
And as far as monitoring people for clan capital for raid weekends and stuff, none of us do that. So,
No.
The only time we might is just if you're saying to people, well, because you can only have 50 people doing it, right? So if somebody wants to bring in a mini and you see somebody hasn't done their raid weekend yet, you might say, well, are you going to do your raids, or can so-and-so bring their mini in?
Yeah,
Have you
right.
found Go ahead,
Oh,
Fatal.
I was just gonna say that's very true in Red Thorn. When I'm watching in the rated, and I've actually taken a much more active role in this, whether people know it or not, is is just keeping an eye on what's being upgraded. And we've been stuck at Capitol Hall 7 for far too long, and it's really frustrating that i- it's a clan that's mostly full. I don't know where if people are actually doing it, and if they are, where all the gold is going. I know a lot of it's going into like walls and horse pucky like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've actually stepped up and started prioritizing things like MAD. Like find me the cheapest stuff so we can
Yeah.
get that upgrade count down, so we can get to level 8, so we have more spells, so we have better troops and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we advanced super fast in Red Thorn. I mean, it's not like we're out there making tactics videos on how to best crush bases. So in other words, we're all getting what, 1400 raid medals over in Red Thorn.
Yeah.
We're not getting the 3000 or whatever, but we're getting plenty.
Right.
And the medal count in other clans is naturally going to be limited if the capital is not advancing. So I have been I've been trying, and I haven't been talking about it or saying I'm taking this responsibility, but every now and then I'll put something in there and say stop upgrading walls, because that's not going to help you get to the 6th spell spot and things like that. So
I
Yeah.
have noticed I've been, taking on the smallest ones first, because I think we're really close, right? I think we're under 80 now.
yeah, we're under 80,
Yeah.
but we have just been so slowly getting that number has not been coming down very quickly. So I keep popping in and finding the very cheapest things in each. And I don't think this is any like mathematical wizardry we've uncovered on how to advance quicker. It's just that, if it's easier to just click the little builder guy, find something that's in progress and dump your gold in there. But you really got to go looking for the cheaper things at first, just to make sure that you're advancing.
Right. And the problem is that the forge does require you to devote your builders, right? So,
Hmm.
Yeah. Nobody's doing that in the rated.
if you're farming,
Exactly.
you're not
Exactly.
well, I am on my 9, but I can only
Yeah.
use one builder.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
I know that when this came out, I mean, most of us were already max 14, so we were just forging like mad, and
yeah.
that helped. That really helped.
Yeah. It'll happen again, like, as people max their various bases, they'll start dumping their builders into the forge again.
I think you're right. And then should we be then helping the mini clan move ahead faster, so
Yeah.
they don't have to move to Redthorn to get the same kind of raid medals? I don't know. That's going to be a future discussion, I think.
There's a discussion for leadership, right?
Yes, absolutely. So moving on, SCWL, I don't know quite why I took this on. It felt very important to me at the time. I still do. I still think it's important. I worry a little bit about where the clan lives, like what league RT drops into, because we have been up and we have been down. But also the fact that some members need to stay in Redthorn, they just don't seem to have the mentality to want to move out.
Hmm.
I don't even really know where to begin with the whole thing, but we have a very heavy breakdown. Everybody seems to want to play because those, again, SCWL rewards are tremendous, right? We can all use Hammers of Heroes and books, or Hammers of Building, and all those
Hmm.
things that come from SCWL. We've had many discussions about, what really is the role of Redthorn. Um, and where should we, take the heavy hitters, or where should we put the surplus, right? We have 15 people, because if you're a Champs clan, you can only run 15.
Hmm.
We've run as many as 21 with a schedule. I'm hoping we can just have a quick discussion now about your thoughts. And I mean, is it better to just devote Redthorn to push as far as it can? And how do you tell someone who wants to be in Redthorn that we're going to use someone else this month to try and promote? How do you see it?
I've never really been that concerned about promoting. It's nice to be in champs, the bragging rights, all that stuff. I personally, it doesn't bother me if we were to play in masters, or as far as I'm concerned, being in masters makes life easier for my leadership team that runs SCCWL. Like, you can run everybody in one clan. You don't have to chase people to move. It's kind of a nice break.
Yes.
When it's in champs, it's okay. Like you say, who's going to play in Redthorn? Who's going to play in TGF? Because we're in champs too, we need people who are willing to put a little bit extra effort into, and it is more stressful because you're going to get matched up against tougher clans, better bases. And so, if your base gets tripled, you need to make sure that you have some extra bases on hand that you can swap them out for. And then just chasing people to move back and forth. So being in champs, running a smaller breakdown is just more of a headache. I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but I have really good people. There's you and Vodka and Magnus and Stormy helping out, just telling people, like, let's get going, get moving to where you're supposed to be, and deciding who needs to be where based on people who've signed up. And generally people sort themselves because we give them the option. Do you want to play in Redthorn? And if you do, these are what the expectations are.
Yeah. Tighten your
And
bootstraps.
if you want a little bit more relaxed SCCWL, then go to TGF. And generally we don't have to make that call that, well, no, you can't play in Redthorn. People make that choice for themselves.
I know Phoenix Reloaded runs mixed breakdowns, and Whip is basically taking that on again through a sign up channel in Discord. And I'm running a Town Hall 13 there, so Whip is very good about all the 15s are in. I can't even remember what league we're in right now in Phoenix. I don't think
Masters
we
something.
advanced. Yeah, I don't think we advanced last time because we are running 13s. All right, we're holding
Mhm.
our own in kind of an all 15 kind of environment.
Yeah, I think that kind of surprised him.
Yeah, he does do a sign up, but he's very good about rotating the 13s through to make sure as many of us growing accounts are getting in there as possible while still maintaining a competitive lineup. And then the rated is even more crazy. I mean, we're basically running, I think, 115, maybe 3 15s, and then 14s and 13s, just because we would like that clan to be, or it has suddenly become very competitive. We did run all the way down to Town Hall 9 and
Mhm.
ran the first couple of times, but it gets out of hand quickly, right? The counts stack up quick. Very
Yeah.
hard to get even a 1-star on a Town Hall 13 with a Town Hall 9. And so now we've been using the Raz's clan Dark Allegiance, but again, we've promoted the last couple of months. I don't know what we're going to run into this month, when we're going to try and run probably 5 or 6 Town Hall 9s, maybe even a Town Hall 8. It's going to be tricky. I do like the mixed breakdowns. They're interesting. I always thought I loved the Town Hall 50 or the all maxed Town Halls. The mixed breakdowns is interesting, especially as a lower Town Hall. You just want to kind of overachieve.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a challenge because I do remember back when I was in KGH and seeing just the crazy matchups we'd get. We were in Crystal, and some months we just get clobbered, and other months we'd just be winning almost every war, even with our crazy breakdowns down to Town Hall 11. Because a lot of times the other side, they wouldn't attack or they wouldn't fill their CC. So you were able to get those 2 stars.
People often complain about SCWL and the breakdowns don't really match up well. Like the what do you call it? The matchmaking's not perfect, but I kind of like the way it is. You're in the right tier
Mm-hmm.
when you start losing, right? You've
Yeah.
overachieved. I'm worried for us this month in RT, to be honest. We could end up in a group that's all Champ 1 clans that got demoted last month. We could get our poor butts handed to us, but
Yeah,
I think
you never
it's
know
going to
what
be.
you're going to get.
You don't know what you're going to get, and that's
Yeah.
I think what makes it fun. And I want everyone to have fun, right?
Yeah.
It's. We used to shuffle around quite a bit of Town Hall 14s, just kind of fill up other people's clans, and I think that kind of went to the wayside. I got very nervous when some of our better hitters, let's call them mini accounts, were thrown in with people that just, they were doing weird and wonderful things like surgically dropping witches, right? It didn't really mesh with our style. I'm glad now that we kind of have our tiers of clans, and we know what to expect from everybody every month.
Yeah, what we might be doing is creating a situation where in a couple months down the road, people are wondering, like, are our SCCWL clans like, is it going to get to a way where someone is really overperforming in the second clan and but for whatever reason through signups or whatever can't make it in to Red Thorn? And how do you tell someone in Red Thorn, like, I know you've regularly been here, but from a performance standpoint, Red Thorn is actually better served by having, Joe Blow down here come up and do 5 wars during CWL. Think about it like promotion and relegation in soccer. Um, that I don't. I think we're lucky that we haven't run into anything like that. I don't think anyone's nose has gotten out of joint over anything like that just yet, as far as I know. But as we get to champs, now we're in champs 2. What if we get to champs 1? Does are we as a clan prepared for that situation?
I think looking at how people have talked about it and signed up, most of the more competitive type people who really want to be in Red Thorn are playing there. And the people we're really lucky because most of our members are, yes, I'll play wherever you want me. I just, I want to get in some wars and I want to get the maximum medals that I can so I can keep upgrading my account. So if we were to say to somebody, we really need you in Red Thorn this month. And I think we did approach one person this month to do that, who normally plays over in TGF because they prefer a less stressful kind of SCCWL. So we convinced them to give Red Thorn a try this month. So there's that give and take, and our people are mature enough that nobody really gets their nose bent out of joint.
And I hope that our members will see that we're not really picking and choosing, and that they will just say to a leader, hey, I think I missed my turn again this month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Carrying on, how do you decide who your clan officers are going to be? I know we have a lot of co-leaders, let's say, in Red Thorn. I don't know if it's a lot. I know there's free co-clans. But at what point do you say give someone elder? If you, like, what is your criteria?
Well, in Red Thorn, pretty much everybody gets free elder. Just makes my life easier for people coming and going out of the clan. Co-leader is a bit more, I don't promote people that often. It's a matter of longevity and seeing if that person is sort of doing the things that I would want a co-leader to do. Like, whether they're donating or helping out or offering to do things. They might be offering to help with events or, just sort of standing out a little bit above the rest of the crowd. Like, somebody that I say, gee, this person, they've been filling war CCs and donating and this, that, and the other thing. We really need to talk about bring them up to co-leader. And sometimes I've approached people and they say, no, I want to just be an elder, and I'm more than happy to keep them. I'd rather they stay in Redthorn as an elder than stick them in a co-leader role and have them freak out and say, no,
And feel the pressure. Yeah.
I don't want this pressure. I'm quitting the game.
Have you ever had to demote a co-leader?
I have. Mostly because the person has retired from the game. And so there's no point in having them in the leader chat anymore. But we do have a few people who actually are currently not playing in Redthorn, that they're still in the co-leader chat, and they kind of have honorary co-leader status.
That's because they make you laugh.
They do. I know you had wanted to know if I ever would give up leader to another account. And I've done that temporarily.
Sure, if I've a kit to Apocalypse Meow. If the name has some reference to a cat in it, then chances are you'll become a leader in one of these Redthorn clans very quick.
I mean, there are times that I've stepped out for an event or whatever, and I've either thrown lead on Peter or Stormy, just because they're always on. And I know that, they don't mind if I do that, because some people are kind of freak out if someone sticks leader on them. So, but normally I have enough spare accounts kicking around that I can bring it over.
Just do the count shuffle.
Exactly.
All right. So when it comes to donations, we've talked a lot about Redthorn, that people have enough raid medals to donate, and even if their request is hanging out there, it's never out there for longer than a couple minutes. But when it comes to other clans, I'll let you go first, Kat. What do you see any more like problems around donations in other clans?
We can just not even talk about Redthorn because it's a non-issue there. Other clans that I am in, I do notice a large difference. I mean, people still get on and donate, but there are some clans that I'm in where, for example, someone might have multiple accounts and they're heavily farming, and they post all their requests and they don't fill their own requests. And especially nowadays with being able to self-donate and all that, and when you have multiple accounts in a clan, the onus is really on you to fill your own requests. Unless it's for war, and if someone has a max account on, then I would expect that max account to donate if it's specifically for war.
But aren't if you're self-donating, aren't those the troops max that you can have?
And they are, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, carry on.
But for some reason, if you've run out of your capital medals or whatever, all you need to do is say something like, "Look, I've been self-donating. I've used all my clan capital medals. I'm farming." But then, if you're just farming, then you shouldn't be asking for max troops. Like, this is a whole another spiel that we can go down. No matter what clan I've been in, whether it's KGH or the Rated or PR or whatever, I've always said to people, if you're farming, you don't need max troops to farm. Just post your request for whatever level you can get. And in most leagues, you don't even need a CC to farm. If you're practicing a specific strategy, you can say that in your thing. I'm practicing hybrid, so I need these particular troops because I want to learn this strategy and get good at it. Totally understandable, right? Then people are more than willing in pretty much every clan that I'm in to donate. You might have to wait because people will have to cook the troops, right? I'm certainly never going to expect anybody to gem donations, especially for farm troops. But
it's funny you say that, because it drives me crazy when people just put they would want troops anything. I don't even know where to begin. I would much
when
prefer
you pull out the wall breakers.
Yeah, well, I don't do that, but I would like to try and give them something like, are you attacking with air? Are you attacking with ground? Just any clue would help me.
Yeah. And I do see people say, any ground. And
yes.
Then, whatever. Standard would be, maybe giants because they're quick to train. It's sort of the ground version of loons, right?
Yeah.
ground is giants, air is if you say anything, I'm going to give you loons.
And then when it comes to like, I know you want to get your donations right, but also sometimes even when it comes to calling bases in war, right?
Hmm.
Um, a while back, SC gave us the ability to call bases in war. I think it's been a couple of years now,
Hmm.
or close to a couple of years. Do you have any issues with the way things are going with that, or did you prefer War Match? Any thoughts on that, Kat?
Well, if you think back to the olden days, we used to use Clash Caller.
Oh
Uh,
my, yes.
remember that?
I
And then
do.
War Match came along, and it was like, wow, this is awesome because you could call your base, and it sort of again, it was a great tool for leadership because you could see how much time was left on a person's call. Like you could set, you need to hit within this time frame, and then your call would expire, right? It gave you stats, all kinds of nice little things. But then, for one reason or another, the developer stopped providing updates on it, and it wasn't working well with SCCWL, the AI, and all that stuff. So War Match is no longer functional, and I did miss it at first, but now people seem to have got into the flow with calling on the map. Most people will put a timestamp on their call so that okay, they called it with 23 hours left in war. So after 2 hours, their call is no longer valid. So people can go ahead and consider the base open. So it seems to be working quite well.
Yeah, Peter, do you have any? The one beef I have, I guess, and I'm gonna let Peter
Yeah.
jump in a quick, is I wish when you're scouting, if you could actually see if the base is called, in
Oh yeah.
when you're in the
Yeah.
clan map, because it's like, oh, there's no replay. This one looks really tasty, but you have to go all the way back to the map, and then sometimes when you go back to the map, it'll take you to the recommended base, which is like
Ugh,
half the map or more down or something,
yeah.
because they know it's me. They put me like they recommend like the Town Hall 9. Um, but that's my big beef. Like that seems like something they could easily add. Like show me the call status and give me
Hmm.
the ability to call it right as I'm scouting it. Peter, do you have any thoughts on either that or
I
the-
wish that when the base was called, there was more than just the warning sign. Like um, maybe we talk about a timer, right? We all are supposed to put in the time left in the war in the notes, just so everybody kind of knows when the call was made, in case someone falls asleep. The base is then available after a couple hours. I almost wish though that the call would just expire, right? You put the flag on,
Mm.
but then it actually disappears. But until that time, you can't attack it. Maybe a co-leader would have to clear it. I don't know. Something more though that's a little more ties the base up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would really like that if when you called it that, leadership could set the length of time that a call on a base was valid for, so that the flag would automatically disappear after 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever they
Whatever, yeah.
chose.
Yeah, and even if Supercell put in an extra bit of information, like we know it's called, we know who called it. It'd
Hmm.
be great if they threw in when it was called.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Because right now we're usually just throwing that in the notes.
Agreed. Yeah.
So yeah, all right. So on to a little bit of fun. So today being New Year's Day, for all listeners, it's hopefully your hangovers have cleared. I think we've discussed that somehow among the three mature adults here, there's not a single hangover.
Oh, I
So
never said that.
oh,
Sorry.
okay. Well, good for you. You covered for me then. That's for sure.
Good.
But it being New Year's Day, we all know about resolutions and whatnot. So, what are your top 5 good intentions for New Year's? And I'm going to start with number 5 for Peter.
I am going to try and increase my flexibility. I had a back surgery almost 3 years ago now, and I felt very sorry for myself. I just kind of sat around, but now I'm ready to feel good again. So flexibility is my first thing.
So, Peter, before I let Kat go, how many of these are going to be targeted to improving your golf game? So
Uh,
far, we're
just
one out of
just
one.
just more than half.
Very good. But I'm happy for you that when you've got a hobby that's a passion, that's never a bad thing.
Yes.
Kat?
Let's see. My number 5 is sleep more. And simply because I generally get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night.
Goodness.
So I'd like to stop staying up quite as late.
All right.
'Cause
Well,
even after I'm on voice, I tend to stay up a little bit later than I should.
So no
So-
more coffee after 9:30.
Correct.
is it a matter of you putting off things that you starting to take care of at 10:30 at night because you were on voice?
Pretty much, yeah. And then I'm up, if I'm going to the office, I'm up at 5 a.m. So
Well, shoot, maybe the leaders should have, instead of getting you that like inflatable Big Bird like front yard ornament thing, that we should have gotten you like a Bluetooth headset so you can walk around and achieve things
there you go.
and still, fulfill your obligations to being present in voice five or six times a week.
So my wish list for next year.
All right. All right. So my number 5, and I was speaking more in general of the things that I see, maybe not for my own personal ones. Um, but maybe I need to come back and redo it for my own personal things. But in general, like what I see, stopping a bad habit. And eh, I am trying this year to drink less pop because I think a lot of the artificial sweeteners I'm taking in can't be all that good for you. I mean, come on, Coke Zero doesn't occur in nature as it should. But Pepsi would have been far worse, but still, Coke Zero is better than Pepsi anything. But I still need to drink less than probably the 3 to 4 cans I drink a day. But I still it does give me a little bit of hope. I've done it for a couple of weeks so far, and it's not a big thing. As long I'm not, if I were to go cold turkey, just like anything, I'd probably be in trouble. But I did work with a guy that would drink a 2 liter of Diet Coke before lunch and then a 2 liter of Diet Coke, a second 2 liter before going home. So if you
Oh
were to
my.
plug that into a
Wow.
calculator, that's 10 cans of pop, just during the working hours. And I was like, dude.
Wow.
Peter, number 4.
It goes along with my increased flexibility. I would like to increase strength, particularly for my golf swing.
Very good. Very good. And what are you going to do for that? Do you have a plan, or are you investigating how to do that? Where are you at in that process?
Actually, I have subscribed to a guy. He's called Fit for Golf. He's a Scotsman living in California. He has an app. I'm following I forget what it's called now, off-season training program. So, yeah, there's kettlebells involved, some weightlifting, a lot of what do you call it? One-legged squats. So it's home workout stuff. I'm not having to put a 500-pound barbell on my back.
It'll be like channeling Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm,
Have
No,
you talked
skinnier than that guy.
Well, we got a guy in Clan named Royd Ragen who might be able to prescribe you something. So, all right,
Yes.
Kat, you're number 4.
My number 4 is to start doing yoga again. I'd been doing it for quite a while and then I kind of laid off, and I've noticed a difference in my flexibility. So I'm going to get back into that.
Very good. So what I find a lot of people doing, and again, I'm on the fly here applying it to my personal life, is what people generally do. One of the things is reviewing their personal goals. So whether it's financial or otherwise. So for me, we had an incident around the house about a month ago where something happened with our hood fan over our range, and I'm like, oh shoot. So I had to call around and find a handyman, and I ended up with a guy coming into our house that actually does a lot of remodeling. He isn't really a handyman at all. It was just something he had time to do and stopped in and had a look. So one of our personal goals for this year is to plan a kitchen upgrade and
Ooh.
and figure out where we're at on the finances for that. We're doing all right. We should have the money for it, and if not, we can at least get some quotes and then plan how to get there, because we've lived in this house about 11 years now, and it's everything looks a little dated.
Mhm.
Peter, number 3.
I just jumped to that. I think my life would love to do that too. So I hope she's not listening to today's podcast.
Can't you just do something in your kitchen?
Oh, well, yeah, we painted the counters just to kind of freshen the
Oh,
look,
okay.
but I think she'd like a wall out, and yeah, it
Swept the
just
Oh
floor.
dear.
yeah, I swept the floor. My number 3 is to golf regularly. So, golf season here will be middle May to kind of middle October. So, I'm hoping to get out once a week. That's my
What a,
plan.
what about a trip? No
I have a
there.
trip planned already. I got invited to go to Arizona in the end of April. So, that'll start it off with a
Nice.
bang. Yep. I'm a little terrified. My swing is in process of being reshaped, so I only have about 15 weeks left to get her right.
Cat, number
My
3.
my number 3 is to eat a little healthier in general. So a little less pop and a little more on the vegetable side. Uh, yeah.
All right. Number 3 for me, learning a new skill, whether it's,
Ooh.
a hobby or skill or whatever. So for me this year, I do have a goal of achieving a new professional certification. So that
Ooh.
probably won't, that's one that I'll probably be able to knock out by summertime, at which point I'll probably have to, see what would be next. And the nice thing is that's kind of a marriage of work and personal. It's never bad from a work standpoint, to get more and more certifications because, it helps you learn emerging technologies that I work in. It also helps you it in your career in general because it shows that, even though you're a bit of an old dog, you can still learn new tricks and more importantly that you want to learn. Because it's one
Yeah.
thing to attend the training for this stuff. It's another thing to actually put in the effort on your own time to go and, with all the other things going on in your life, to find the time to, get that, to do things for yourself, to continue to learn.
Hmm.
Peter, number 2.
Mine is to be more engaged or more present with my children. 3 out of 4 of them are still in school. 3 out of 4 of them, different 3 out of 4 have jobs, and just since the COVID release, we've all been kind of going in different directions, and everything feels very busy. I'm rushing home so they can rush out with the car, but just I'm going to make it a point that they're in the room. I'm going to be there and talking to them about what's going on, what's coming up, what's gone on.
That's a
Let's
great
get
one.
let's get them golfing.
Yes and no. I think I'm not comfortable with my game yet to be able to take someone else out. I'm hate to tell you this, but I'm a little competitive, so some people will have a better shot than me. I might not be able to take that very well if I've been working on it for a long time and they just crank one. So
Just came in and
yeah,
Those
I'm not ready for that competition yet.
those people exist no matter what. You're
I
not going to be
agreed.
able to avoid them.
exactly.
Agreed.
My number 2 is to read more, like physically read books. So
Nice,
I used to
nice. I like.
read quite a bit, and for various reasons, I have kind of slacked off. I have quite a few books sitting on my bookshelf that are calling my name, so I'm going to start picking those up.
Do you have any genres you prefer, or are you all over the place?
Um, my preference is sort of like Lord of the Rings, that kind of genre.
Hmm.
So I have quite a few books um, sitting there unread. I do want to read Lord of the Rings again for the 30th time. So this is the
Very
year.
good.
This is the year.
All right. My number 2, obviously exercise. So it kind of combines a couple of Peters, but I have some some take home exercises I get to do every day, and so far I haven't done them yet today, but the day is young, and I already am planning. I already have set aside some time to go huff and puff on the treadmill after this. So that's my
Excellent.
number 2. Peter, you're first.
And this one is similar to one with my kids, but I'm going to try to be more engaged with whatever I am doing at that moment. I find myself very distracted recently. I can be at work and I'm answering an email, but then I'm also talking on Discord, and then the phone will ring, and I'm just lost. Right, for the rest of that hour, I'm
Mhm.
doing all 3 things at once, and I know I'm not doing well at all 3 of those things. So I'm going to try to be more uh, focused on the actual thing I'm doing, including just having to put my phone down and ignore, I don't know, YouTube's latest ding that they think I should watch some, I forget what they're showing me now, CrossFit girls and weight training. I don't know. I get the weirdest things on my feed recently.
Or my pings.
You can keep pinging me. I just may not answer within 30 seconds.
Okay, I'll allow that. My
Pat,
number
Yep.
my number
yours.
1 is to learn to cook some new things. You tend to fall into the habit of that's what am I cooking today for supper, and it's the same type of thing, but I want to sort of stretch the boundaries of our culinary adventures here. So
All right. I like it. So my number 1 is to focus more on, like, almost to a journaling level, saying, today I made this person's day better by doing this, and figure out if it's a cashier, I don't care. If it's my daughter, my son, my wife, um, you know, just be able to say yes, even if I had a bad day, for a brief moment, I made someone's day better.
that's great.
Great one. Yeah.
All right, you guys want to jump into some shout outs?
Sure.
Beto?
Yeah, I want to shout out Carl for helping us with the podcast.
Here,
Thank you
here.
very much, sir.
Yep.
And as always, I know it's boring. I want to shout out our fearless leaders and our clan members in Redthorn. Thank you so much. And for all those that are additionally helping in the rated, thank you very much, because that one is easily more difficult to manage.
Definitely.
Easily more difficult.
Peter?
You are a word wizard, Fado. Absolutely.
Failing badly.
I'd also like, including Carl, the Redthorn people, it's been a great year. Looking forward to next year. I'd also like to say a big thank you to Mama Sids. She's been away for almost the entire month of December. Looking forward to hearing stories, seeing pictures when she gets back. I want to shout out Ink. He's actually golfing today in Missouri, the bum. He's already sent me a picture of, his putt for birdie, so he's having fun. And to Miss P and her boyfriend Meat Sticks, they are in Buffalo and actually did not get to celebrate Christmas together. They were both snowed in apart, and so they only got to celebrate Christmas this year or this weekend. So shout out to those guys.
I'm going to echo you guys, shouting out Carl. Really appreciate him stepping up and doing the editing for us while Mama's away, and hope she's having a great vacation. Shout out to Nob and Ace, who came over to war with us this past week. We needed a few people to spin a 40, and we managed to match a pro level esports team.
Yeah.
got our butts handed to us. It was a lot of fun. And also shout out to C-Note and Ace for keeping me company on voice all the time. And shout out to leadership in all the clans I'm involved with, because I certainly could not run anything without any of you. So big shout out to y'all. And thank you everybody for listening. The CFF is a family of clans in games such as Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, and many of the other Supercell games. We love to provide content via podcasts and other media. You can visit the Clash Files Discord to apply to any of our clans or to support our pods and events. As always, please send us your comments, ideas, and suggestions on Twitter at RedthornCOC, or join the Clash Files Discord at discord.gg/ClashFiles.